Hi guys, I will show you today how you can have a silent, fast, high-end gaming PC without using any third-party software or difficult to use applications. For this, I am going to use one of my favorite features in ASUS BIOS. I am going to use a Maximus VIII Hero motherboard, Core i7 6700K CPU, and one of my favorite air coolers, the Noctua D15S. I installed the entire setup in a fractal design defined R4 chassis, which is equipped with three 140 fans. And in order to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm going to also apply some overclocking to the CPU because it's a K series model. So I'm going to use the auto overclocking feature TPU, and I'm going to select the level 2 TPU 2. Start tuning, and you should be able to get roughly 15% frequency increase, which basically means 46 multiplier for your CPU, and that translates to 4600 megahertz frequency. You don't actually need to do anything because the motherboard applies all the settings you need to run stable at this frequency. And now we can get to work, and we are going to use the Qfan feature. This is one of the nicest features ASUS provides in their BIOS. It is basically an advanced setting module for all the fans in your system. As you can see, it provides support both for 4-pin fans and for 3-pin fans. On the left, you have a list with all the fan connectors the motherboard provides, and at the bottom you have some presets you can use. If you choose the DC mode, which is three pin connectors, you have an extra function. It is called fan off, which basically means you can set your fan to completely turn off under certain circumstances. Unfortunately, this function is not available for PVM mode. I don't know why, but it just isn't. And of course, the function is not available for the CPU fan, and that's actually quite normal because you wouldn't want your CPU to get too hot and cool it passively. And one of the most important features is the optimize all function. Because this is actually a calibrating feature that basically is doing some scan. It actually applies full speed for all your fans, and then it is starting to lower the speed until the fans completely stop. So the motherboard can determine which is the maximum speed and which is the minimum speed your fans can spin at. ASUS states that this process can take between 2 and 5 minutes, but in my experience, based on my experience, I can tell you it usually takes less than 2 minutes. And it is done. And you can see here what it actually did. Uh, it applied different minimum duty cycles for the connectors that have installed fans. Uh, this this minimum values are different here because I'm using different types of fans in my system. And once this is done, you can uh, you can start adjusting your fans behavior using this small and useful graphical chart. I usually try to select values so that my CPU runs at safe temperatures, but uh, without having a noisy PC. So I will keep the CPU fan at minimum, below 45 degrees Celsius, and I'll have the fan spin at full RPM above 75 degrees Celsius, because 75 is actually the maximum limit ASUS allows you to select for the maximum RPM. And you should know that you cannot select for the high temperature lower RPM than 100%. And then you have the intermediate value. Okay, I set this as well. Hit apply. Okay. And then we are going to do the same for all the installed fans. Unfortunately, this little tool don't tell you for don't disable the connectors you don't use, the connectors that have no fans installed. So you either know which connectors you are using, or you you just uh, you just set up all of them. That's one way to see things. The other is if you pay attention to the PVM DC mode selector and the presets bar, actually, because for the connectors that are not currently used, the preset is not on manual, but you can select the manual value and do the settings if you wish, and when you install additional fans they will already be configured, but using the default minimum RPM that the BIOS provides, not the specific fan minimum RPM. As you can see, I'm doing almost the same thing for all the fans, because I prefer having as low as possible RPM under 45 or even 50 degrees Celsius. And then in the first part uh, I'm applying only a small increase in RPM, in fans RPM. And in the second part we are getting a much faster increase, because after some temperature level you would want your fans to start spinning faster, so that the temperatures don't rise too much. Okay, so that was all, and now we can leave the BIOS. But before exiting, the motherboard let us know what we did here, what we changed. It's actually a full review with the changes we made. So you can check it here and see if you messed something up or not. Okay. What we are going to do now is what am I going to do now actually is show you how these values we uh, we put in the BIOS work for us. As you can see here, we have some very low RPM for all the fans, and the noise level is very low. Actually, if you have a hard drive in your system, you will be able to hear its motor spinning. That's how silent the system is at this point. And now I'm going to start the prime CPU stress tool so that you can see how high the, the RPM gets. You can see we had a spike because this is something that happens to all Intel CPUs, especially when they are overclocked. But this only lasts a second or two, and then the the RPM goes back down, and after a few seconds it stabilizes. And as you can see, the values are pretty good. I mean, all all the fans are below 1000 RPM, which uh, which is pretty silent for a Core i7 overclocked CPU in a roomy environment with 24-25 degrees Celsius. Yeah, and the temperature are okay. And after half an hour, you can see we have almost the same RPMs. Meanwhile, I reset the min and max values in the CPU ID tool. So the spikes from the beginning are not here anymore. And if we stop the CPU stress tool, the CPU goes back to idle and the RPM goes back down to those very low values you saw in the beginning. So basically, you can get your system to be very silent while keeping its performance peak level very good. And lastly, I will also run the Monster Hunter Online benchmark tool because I want to show you how the Qfan setting work uh, while running games, because most of you won't run CPU stress tools and maybe uh, not even one demanding, really demanding app for this CPU. So I'm choosing the Full HD resolution because this is still very popular these days, and I'll run the benchmark in window mode because I want you to see the temperature and the RPM levels. Okay, so now it starts. You should note this uh, is an NVIDIA oriented benchmark. So because I'm using a Radeon R9 series in my system, the performance is not that great, but this doesn't really matter I want to prove here, for what I want to prove here. As you can see, we still have some RPM spike when launching the app. It's not as big as when we uh, ran the CPU stress tool, but it's still there, and it lasts 1, 2, or 3 seconds, not more. And then the fans spin pretty slow, so you will be able to hear your graphics card's fans, unless you are using a very silent graphics card. But anyway, the point is that the system remains silent even during gaming. So you can imagine that while browsing or watching movies or listening to music, or I don't know what other activity you are doing on your PC, it will be almost completely silent. Because if you are using good fans and you adjust your Qfan feature correctly, you will be the proud owner of a very fast and very silent gaming PC. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will be able to use the advices here. Goodbye.